change. After nearly 2 decades, the US has started renewing visas for H-1B workers, including Indian nationals, who can complete the process without leaving the country. Essentially, the State Department will release 4,000 application slots initially, with a total of 20,000 participants accepted over the next 5 weeks from January 29th to April 1st, 2024. Now, the program is expected to reduce wait times for appointments, ensuring a smoother process for workers and prevent disruptions. However, the H-1B visa applicants will only be able to apply through the portal. Applications will be handled on a first received, first processed basis until the weekly limit is reached. Now, the agency, of course, estimates processing times for domestic visa renewals to take 6 to 8 weeks after receiving passports and required documents from applicants, that is. Now, many H-1B workers, particularly in the tech industry, faced uncertainty earlier due to backlogs for visa renewals abroad. Now, this pilot program provides more certainty and alleviates the stress associated with international travel for renewal. And to better, of course, understand the implications of this pilot program, let me go across to my guest joining me this afternoon, Sukanya Raman, a country head, beg your pardon, at Davies and Associated LLC immigration expert. Sukanya, thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us here on Mirror Now this afternoon. You know, this pilot program comes at a very interesting time. We do know the kind of loopholes the system of the H-1B visas have had initially, especially with the lottery system, or rather, you know, the other aspect of applying multiple times from various companies. How do you really look at this move?
Thank you so much for inviting me for this panel. It's a very interesting topic to be discussed, and yes, so this program, the pilot program, has been reintroduced because this was happening about 2 decades back. Earlier in the US, where you could renew your visas, but then for various reasons it was stopped, and now it has been reintroduced for 5 weeks. This is again, as it is mentioned, it's a pilot program. So here they are going to be issuing visas only for Indian nationals and Canadians. As the program reads, that this is again for very specific set of people, and they have listed few criterias for also under the H-1B category, who all will be eligible to get this the benefit of this pilot program. So, of course, this is a good start of the year, I must say that. And because, we have also seen that during the renewals, it used to take insane amount of time at times, because the case may go under administrative processing, which is kind of a tricky situation because you don't know how long that is going to take. Versus if you're eligible to get your H-1B stamped within the country, then at least you know it is where it is, and stuff like that is kind of taken care. Versus you're in the country, which means you can continue to work for your employer. Versus if you're outside the country, then there are challenges because some companies do not allow their data to be shared outside the country, which means you're not allowed to work, etc. Kind of situation arises, and again you come in a very limited window or a vacation to get all this done. So of course this is a good start, I must say that.
All right, essentially, of course, you're welcoming the move. But in terms of the pilot program, it's quite an interesting one, because probably if this were to work out, then the expansion of it would be easier. Is that how we see it, Sukanya?
Definitely, because at the moment it is only for H-1B workers, again, as I mentioned, with certain criteria in place. But yes, I mean, if they also do it for maybe if this is a success, then I think they may also do it for the H-4 dependents. I mean, H-1B dependents, which are the beneficiaries, dependents who are on H-4 visa. Right now it is only for H-1B applicants, but yes, if the program is if it takes off, then maybe they will also do it for H-4, which means that there is going to be a huge relief for many of the people who might go out of status.
All right, okay. So there are limitations as well, but that could probably be explored on the basis of how this pilot program would work. But just for our viewers to better understand that there is a selection 5-week criteria as well as an eligibility as far as the applications are concerned. If you could help them better understand the key takeaway from the same.
Sure, yeah. So, like, meaning the criterias I can briefly kind of discuss. It's like that the foreign national, that is the H-1B beneficiary, must have obtained a H-1B visa during certain time frame that they have mentioned. For example, if it is through the US mission India, then they must have done their stamping, that is the previous stamping, from 1st February 2021 to 30th, I think 30th September 2021, within which if they have done the stamping earlier, then now they are eligible. Then they must also be having a valid H-1B visa again, and they must have a approved and an unexpired petition. And then they must not, I mean, they must be eligible for an in-person interview waiver. They should not be eligible for, they must not apply for a waiver ahead of applying for this visa, etc. are the requirements that they have set forth, which is, I think, which is fair. And I think most people will be able to kind of, take the benefit. And again, it is only for 20,000 applications to begin with, which means 10,000 is for Canadian. I mean, the visas issued for foreign nationals whose H-1B was issued under the US Mission Canada, and 10,000 approximately for US Mission India. Now, again, of course, they have mentioned it like each week they will be taking 2,000 applications under these two categories. But again, we don't know how long this is going to be there, because initially it is now started on like last couple of days back. 29th Jan, and it is valid till 2026 as of now. And again, they have mentioned that it may, if the 20,000 is exhausted, then they'll talk about it later. However, the validity of the program is from 29 till 1st April.
Right, and of course, essentially, as you draw things into perspective for our viewers, here's another aspect that, has come up multiple times as far as this overall was the need of the hour, because there was also instances of fraud. So do you think that this pilot program will help really reduce that aspect?
Sure. So now again, in 2020, they have introduced the registration process fully electronic, which means that, there's going to be, the process have been shifted. Earlier, it was different. So, which was also a good start. And now again, in this, for the fiscal year 2025, it is something like the beneficiary must also submit their travel document or passport number, which means even if it is multiple applications, then only one obviously the passport number is going to be one, and they will only consider that for the process. Which means even multiple, last year there was about 750,000, requests being excuse me. There was about 750,000 petitions received, registrations received. Of course, there's only, again, a limitation for only 85,000 visas to be issued. In that also, there is a bifurcation for 65,000 to be issued for H-1B categories, that is a cap, and 20,000 for students who have studied in the US with their other master's or higher degree. So again, there is, there's only that much visas available, and the request is for 750,000. So of which it is obviously very clear that multiple applications has been received for the same beneficiary from various organizations or companies that have filed, which will not be the case now, because the travel doc or the passport number is now being asked while they do the registration, which is going to cost them $10. And the process is going to, the window is going to start from 6th of March 2024 till 22nd of March 2024.
All right. So essentially, of course, this is a welcome move because of the way that the manner in which this pilot program will also be carried out. But here's something that I would like to ask you in terms of the fact that this is welcoming, also because this is happening after nearly 2 decades. What really took, this much time for it overall to happen? What were the loopholes and challenges in the previous system that they had to come up with this pilot program? If you could help us better understand that.
Right. I think primarily because after COVID, there was a huge backlog, as we all know, that it took a lot of time for the traditional route of you going to like leaving the country and get your passport stamped. There was already a lot of backlogs and other things, because of which I think they have now, again, it is mentioned that, this is a pilot program and they are going to see the bandwidth of the department to take up something like this and how long they're going to take, because the processing time that they have mentioned within the country is about 6 to 8 months. But again, this is just started, so we do not have any in-hand information that is it going to really take them 6 to 8 weeks or it could be faster. So once we have more clarity on that, I think we will be in a position to comment whether this is, in my opinion, this is obviously going to be it's definitely a good start. At least, even if 10,000 visas are being issued for Indian nationals within the country, that means there's going to be that much less work on the officers who are stationed in India or abroad. Basically, not necessarily in India, but wherever outside the US, they will have, the bandwidth to take up other cases which is already pending.
All right, Sukanya, so essentially you're giving this a thumbs up. You say it's a good start, but of course implementation and how the outcome of this pilot program will happen, that of course remains to be seen. But for the moment, I want to thank you for taking the time out and not just explaining to us the loopholes, the systems, but also, of course, for our viewers to better understand what this move means. But for the moment, we'll leave the conversation at that. Slipping in a quick break here on Mirror at 1. More news coming up on the other side. Stay with us. We're going to be right back.